The evening at the Golden Oak, a luxury restaurant in downtown Atlanta, shimmered with the quiet hum of expensive laughter and the clinking of crystal glasses. The air carried the smell of truffled butter and old money. It was a place where power dined, and the world outside seemed irrelevant. At a corner table near the window sat Mr. Donovan Price, a reclusive billionaire known for his steel empire and quiet philanthropy. Few knew him personally. Fewer had ever seen him outside his office. Tonight, however, was special. He had agreed to meet a young man who had written to him, a 17-year-old black teen named Malik Turner, who had lost his parents but was determined to start a community robotics program for underprivileged kids. Donovan was intrigued by the teen's letter, intelligent, fearless, and written with the kind of conviction that reminded him of his younger self. So, he invited Malik to dinner. Malik arrived exactly at 7 p.m., wearing a simple suit borrowed from his pastor. He walked with quiet confidence, his dark eyes full of purpose. The host, unsure at first if he belonged, was about to stop him when Donovan waved. "Malik Turner," Donovan said warmly, rising from his seat. "You're right on time." "Yes, Malik replied, shaking his hand firmly. "Thank you for meeting me." They talked for over an hour. Malik spoke passionately about his dream to build a tech workshop in his neighborhood, a place where kids could learn coding and robotics instead of being lost to the streets. Donovan listened carefully, moved by the boy's ambition and heart. "You remind me of someone I used to know," Donovan said with a smile. "Maybe that's why I wanted to meet you." But just as dessert arrived, the peaceful night shattered. The restaurant's door burst open. 4 men stormed in, rough, loud, clearly intoxicated. The crowd went silent. These weren't regular patrons. They looked out of place amid the suits and chandeliers. "Look who it is," one of them sneered, pointing toward Donovan. "The big man himself, the billionaire who thinks he owns the city." Everyone froze. The restaurant manager tried to intervene, but one of the men shoved him aside. Another grabbed a wine bottle from a table, smashing it against the floor. "Let's teach him a lesson!" the leader barked. Malik's pulse quickened. Donovan tried to stand, calm but cautious. "Gentlemen, there's no need for violence. Whatever you want, I can." Before he could finish, one man lunged at him. Donovan stumbled backward, falling against the table. Glass shattered. Panic spread. Somebody called the police. A woman screamed. But no one moved. Fear rooted everyone in place. No one, except Malik. Without hesitation, Malik stepped between the billionaire and the attackers. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes didn't flinch. "Back off," he shouted. The leader laughed. "Look at this kid. Thinks he's some kind of hero." "I said back off," Malik repeated, louder this time. One of the men swung at him, but Malik ducked with lightning speed. Before the attacker could recover, Malik landed a clean kick to his chest, sending him crashing into a chair. Gasps erupted across the room. "What the?" another man yelled, rushing at him. Malik moved like water, fast, precise. He sidestepped, grabbed the man's arm, and twisted it in a perfect takedown maneuver. The attacker groaned on the floor, unable to get up. 2 down. The other 2 hesitated, suddenly Donovan, breathing heavily, looked at Malik in shock. You're trained." Malik didn't answer. He kept his eyes on the remaining men. "You don't want to do this." But one of them pulled a knife. The crowd gasped again. Donovan tried to stand, but Malik raised a hand slightly. A silent, "I've got this." The man charged. Malik dodged, grabbed a serving tray from a nearby table, and deflected the knife with a sharp clang. Then, spinning low, he swept the man's legs out from under him. The knife skittered across the floor. The last attacker froze, eyes darting between Malik and his fallen friends. You're that kid," he stammered. Malik frowned. "What kid?" "You're that boy from the Guardian program, right? The one trained by the military guys for youth defense." Whispers rippled through the restaurant. Donovan's eyes widened in realization. The Guardian program, a highly selective training initiative funded by the government to develop young leaders in defense and technology. Only 5 students nationwide had ever completed it, and Malik was one of them. The last attacker dropped his weapon and raised his hands. "We didn't know, man. We didn't know who you were," he babbled. The police sirens wailed in the distance. Within minutes, officers stormed in and arrested the 4 men. As they were dragged out, the leader muttered, "We just wanted some cash. Didn't know he had a damn bodyguard." Malik helped Donovan to his feet. The billionaire was still catching his breath. "Bodyguard?" Donovan said with a soft chuckle. "He's much more than that." The restaurant staff rushed over, offering first aid and apologies. But Donovan waved him off. His focus was entirely on the young man who had just saved his life. "Malik," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "You could have run. Most people would have." Malik shrugged modestly. "My mom always said if you can stand up for someone, you do it, no matter who it is." The next morning, headlines exploded across every news outlet. Teen saves billionaire from armed attack, revealed to be member of elite youth defense program. The story spread like wildfire. Reporters called Malik a hero, but he didn't like that word. "I just did what anyone should do," he told them. Donovan, however, had other plans. He invited Malik to his corporate headquarters the following week. When Malik arrived, he was met not just by Donovan, but by a room full of executives, journalists, and community leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen," Donovan began, "this young man not only saved my life, he reminded me what courage and integrity look like." He turned to Malik. "You said you wanted to build something for your community. Well, I think it's time we make that happen." He handed Malik a folder, an official contract establishing a $5 million endowment to fund the Turner Robotics Foundation, a youth innovation center that Malik would lead. Malik's mouth fell open. "Sir, I don't even know what to say." "Say you'll keep being who you are," Donovan replied with a smile. "That's all I need." Months later, the Turner Robotics Foundation opened its doors in the heart of Atlanta's West End. The building, once an abandoned warehouse, now buzzed with life. Kids learning, inventing, dreaming. Malik stood on stage during the opening ceremony, looking out at hundreds of faces, children, families, reporters, and at the very front, Donovan Price. "When I was little," Malik said, "my mom used to tell me that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about standing tall when the world expects you to fall." I guess I finally understand what she meant. The crowd erupted in applause. As Donovan clapped, he felt something deep in his chest: pride, gratitude, and hope. In Malik, he saw the future, not just of business or technology, but of humanity itself. And for Malik, that night at the restaurant wasn't just a moment of bravery. It was the beginning of everything.